Hey, welcome to another episode of the DTC Insider podcast. I'm Brian Roisentul, your host, and today I'm going to interview Leeanna Gantt. She's the founder of Tooktake, a company that helps people of all ages get well and stay well with a new and easy way to stick to their medication and supplement routines. Hey, Leanne, thanks for being on the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so before I didn't record, I told you that I saw somewhere LinkedIn that you have this phrase written on the wall, and I think of it all the time, which is good things are around the corner. Such a coincidence, right?
Yeah, I love that. You really do never know where the next opportunity is going to pop up.
Exactly. I have said it so many times in my career, and every time it proven to be true. So I stick to it every time. So it helps me along the way as well. So please, why don't you tell the audience more about you and your background?
Yeah, I mean, I came into being an entrepreneur through my treatment for cancer a few years back. And during my treatment, I invented a product. And when I was done, I thought it could help a lot of people. So I'm kind of new to all of the business stuff. So it's a lot of trial and error, but I think I'm getting the hang of it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw on your website. I mean, for those who haven't watched it, you have a pretty cool video, a very explanatory video on your website, and it even includes a picture of the sticky notes you used to put on the medication, right?
Yeah, my product it's basically a sticker, a very cool sticker, but it has little perforated tabs on it, so you can pull them off when you take your dose for the day or whatever you're trying to track, hourly medication or whatever your health regimen is. We have something to help you. But yeah, it started with just using sticky notes at home to help my own family and help us take stress out of a stressful situation.
And how did you decide to take this to the next level? Like, did a friend come to you and say, "Hey, you should like go ahead and show the world what you have to offer with this," or how how it happened?
No, I think like during my treatment, my husband and I are both creative directors before that. And as something to do when I was stuck in bed, we'd kind of like play around with like designing what could this look like? And we just sort of play around with it because we watched a lot of Shark Tank. And we were like, if we were going to pitch on Shark Tank, what would this look like? And it was really more of an activity at that point for us to do together and take my mind off what was going on. But when we were done, I still needed to use these labels for the one thing I take every day to help prevent my cancer from returning. I'm like, this is really handy because now I'm busy. I'm back to my normal daily life. I'm like, these could help a lot of people. So I gave some to friends who were like my same age, and they were, most people's reactions like, I don't take anything. I'm not old. I don't need help. And come to find out, they all had something they took and they did need help. So I gave I got them to try the stickers, and I'm like, we could just try these. We're calling them Tooktake labels, and just tell me what you think. And then a few weeks later, all of them were like, these are great. I need more of these. So that's
Yeah,
how we decided, like, hey, we're helping people. This is a cool thing. It's really nice to be able to help people.
it is. And I love what you just said about giving the product to friends when you first started out to validate the product idea, I guess, right?
Mhm.
Because it's something that I get questions about the product validation process all the time. And I'm not an expert at product validation, by the way, but I do speak with many founders every single day. And I know that for some of them, it took, some of them months or years to create a product and to iterate until they found the perfect formula of the whatever they created, right? And to validate a product, you don't need to spend a lot of money on ads. You don't need to run or to do anything
Mhm.
crazy. You just need to reach out to people around you in your network and say, "Hey, is it useful for you?" Right? And see what they
Yeah.
tell you.
Exactly, especially if I think I was lucky my friends did have the problem I was trying to solve, but I think finding people in your sort of network of friends or friends of friends or relatives to that have the problem you're trying to solve or would appreciate the product that you have and get their honest feedback. That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, and I love it that you're helping people with something they have. I don't know. They use these stickers for their medications or supplements, right? So I assume there are many stories that you know, I don't know, you hear from your customers, or I don't know if you receive thank you notes or comments or feedback, right?
Yeah, I get, comments, direct messages, feedback, and it's fun because sometimes they're things I wouldn't even think of. Like there's somebody who she bought them actually for her dog, and then she ended up using them on some like face medicine things, some products she had from the dermatologist because they were liquids, and then she bought more for herself. And then there's people who have really serious or chronic health conditions that really rely on them. I have a friend that has a very serious condition and medication manages it, and she's fine if she takes it, but if she takes it twice, she ends up in the emergency room. So her problem isn't forgetting as much as she can't take it 2 times. So there's all kinds of scenarios I never even thought of. And it's great when people see the simplicity of my product and they can use it to help themselves with their specific condition or their scenario.
Yeah, and I don't know if anyone listening or watching this paid attention to what she just said, but you, Leon, said that a friend of yours, I believe, or a customer, said that she was buying your products for her dog, right? So, did you have a plan these for pets originally, or
We like when I first started making the labels, we had actually used them for our dog's medicine a couple times. Um, but we sort of thought, oh, it could be for pets because that was really handy. It kept let us know if somebody had already given her medicine. Um, but we're like, no, people's what we want to do. But now we actually have a version for pets and for people because we had so many people saying like it's like, oh, this is great. I'm using it for my cat. I'm using it for my dog. And we're like, okay, we should probably make a version for pets so that we could try and get into pet retail. Um, so it just opens up that audience for us.
that's awesome. That's exactly what happens, or one of the many things, the good things that happen when you listen to your audience and assess what they need, right? So this is awesome. So I wanted to ask you now about something that got my attention when I found out. Is it possible that this is correct, that um, you were in CVS and Walmart stores very early in your journey?
Mhm. Yeah, we were in the CVS and Walmart very early.
How did you pull that off? I know many well-established brands trying to get into those, you know.
Um, I think I didn't know it was early at the time, like in my mind, because I didn't have experience with CPG or getting into retail. I thought that's just how it happened. I've since learned it was very early and there was a lot I didn't know. But with Walmart, I did an open call and it just happened that it went really fast once we went through open call, they approved it, and we were actually backed into a product. So typically when you pitch to a retailer, it's for like a year ahead. So like if we're pitching someplace now, we wouldn't be going in until probably like spring of 2025. But with Walmart, we pitched and they backed us in. So we actually only had a couple months to get in instead of a year or more than a year, which is typical. But I didn't know that was weird. So they're like, can you do this in a couple months? I'm like, sure, why not? Um, which was good, but I didn't know anything else. With CVS, we did wait about 10 months. And that during COVID, I participated in like an online trade show, beauty and wellness trade show. And it just so happened that the buyer from CVS was on that webinar that I was talking about my product and had a problem that morning with like her daughter's antibiotics and them getting confused because they were liquid. So it was like fresh in her head and she just happened to see it and be like, I need that. People need that. And she reached out to me. Um,
Being at the right
so
place, at the right time, right?
it was like you say, you don't know. Like I had no idea who was going to be on this. I'd never done a trade show, let alone a virtual trade show. I like honestly had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, well, I'm just gonna go and talk about it because that's what I do.
I know, and it must have been crazy. I mean, with first with Walmart, I mean, the demand, I mean, the inventory levels, they must have demanded. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big learning curve. I did get help. I got a retail broker to step in. I'd already made the contacts, but I didn't understand the onboarding process. It's a lot of paperwork. Um, Now I could do it. I still wouldn't want to. But yeah, it was definitely worth getting help so I could learn as we went, and um, it wasn't up to me to figure everything out.
Yeah. And about something you said, there's probably a few or many, but one benefit of not knowing about something, in this case, you said retail with Walmart, is that you do things that otherwise you couldn't do, right?
Mhm.
If you knew that probably was too early for Walmart, you couldn't have even tried, right? I mean, in this case, you tried, you did it because you just didn't know, and that's the best thing.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah, I
think
think
there's
sometimes it's like in certain situations, I'm glad I didn't know too much because I probably would have gotten cold feet and not done it instead of just being like, yeah, sure, why not? Um,
exactly.
in
And
some
what's
situations, it would have been good to know a little more, but it works out.
of course, of course, but there's a balance, I think, as you said. There's in some situations it's great to be prepared and know more, but in some others, when you don't know something, you probably dare more to do stuff because you just don't know that it wasn't supposed to happen, but it did, right? So in this case, retail, what there are many DTC brands selling online, direct to consumer, and they are trying to get into retail. They think that it will save their business, or some of them, it's just part of their strategy. What could you tell them to be, I don't know, careful about considerations? What would you tell to them?
um, Everything. Now I have a really good friend who is an entrepreneur, and when I told her what was happening with retail, her advice was do not do retail, do direct to consumer first. And I was like, why would I do that? We're in 5,000 stores. This is amazing. Which it is, and I love my retail partners. Um, but it isn't a magic thing being in 5,000 stores. You're I didn't realize that. I thought like, well, CVS, Walmart, whatever chain, they want to sell your product because they want to make money. So they advertise it. No, like I'm still responsible for getting awareness for the brand and letting people know we're there. And as a really small brand that's bootstrapped, it's it's a lot to keep up with what they need to, because we didn't have a big brand awareness. We were really early in our company. So as a company, we didn't have brand awareness, let alone going into these big stores, being responsible for generating traffic. So I think retail's great, and certain products, like I feel our products places in retail, but it isn't a magic bullet. I get people writing to me saying, can I talk to you about retail? And I talk to other entrepreneurs all the time and try and help give them advice, but I let them know there's a lot of expenses, a lot of expectations, and it's more on you than you think it is. It's the same thing as going to see, just bigger numbers, bigger expectations.
Yeah. I mean, I guess every entrepreneur needs to choose their own battles.
Mhm.
Sometimes this is great for some, or probably will take a lot from their time and not justify the results, right? Or the outcomes.
Yeah. I think it depends on your product and where you think your customers are. Um, and that's a really personal thing to, I think, each company. Like where are your people, and where do they want to find you?
Exactly. Yes. And in retail, I discussed with somebody, I think it was CrossNet or another brand. That of course, you don't have like a landing page. You don't have an ad. It's
Mhm.
your product right there, the packaging, and there are probably hundreds of other products or similar products or dozens of similar products right next to yours, right? So it's tough to stand out. So there's a lot
Mhm.
uh, of things that these brands I talk to at least will work on related to the packaging and how they,
Mhm.
how they try to make it stand out, or how they try to communicate some, the message, what it's about, or the benefits, pain points, whatever it is, in just a small space.
Yeah, I mean, people always talk about how like on social media and stuff, you have, seconds to get someone's attention. In a retail store, I feel like it's even less because they're walking, they're looking at a lot of things at the same time. They're and like our product, our package is it's super small. It's like so like in a Walmart, we're like, the size of a credit card. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a different challenge. It's always something that we're working on. And at least like I follow the CrossNet guys, at least theirs is a big box. Like, like I'm like, at least your product's huge, Chris. Like mine's like itty bitty.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about the online store for a sec now. What do you guys do to acquire customers currently?
It's something that we're actually really focusing on this year. Till now, we've been because we went into retail early, most of our efforts and most of our sales come from our retail partners. Um, because it's just me, my husband helps with our marketing, but like it's just us doing everything. So we've been trying to support them as much as we possibly can so we can stay there and make them happy. But this year we're trying to find a balance doing that and really sending people to our website as well. So it's a learning experience.
Yes. I can imagine that a brand like yours, again, as I was saying in the beginning of the conversation, I think there are a lot of stories behind your customers. And many times, I'm not saying it's easy or it's what you need right now, but based on the conversations I have had on the show and with clients in a similar position, they find a lot of value in building a community for their audience. A community could be a newsletter, it could be a Facebook group, it could be
Mhm.
something else, because people share a lot of stories, and that's very, very powerful and also empowering for those people going through some serious situations, or uh, for I don't know, engaging in conversations related to whatever is top of mind for them. Have you ever thought about that or built that?
Yeah, we have a newsletter. It's not a super huge mailing list, but that we're working on building that. We're I'm pretty active on social media. And I think for me, it's a balance of being respectful because a lot of times people's stories are very personal and they're sending me messages like in my DMs or email, which I love when people give me feedback. But unless they say, like, I'm happy to share this, or it came through a review message where they've obviously chosen to make it public, I tend to just keep that private because we're in a sensitive area and some people are like I'll tell my story about breast cancer like I'm fine, but some people are like I don't want my name attached to this. I don't want it out there. So it's a balancing act, but that's something we're working on is how to build our community but be respectful of them because a lot of people just use it for to take for like multivitamins or their collagen powder or some supplements, so that's fine, they don't mind talking about it. But we have a lot of people with different chronic conditions and mental health things, and I it it's some people are really sensitive about it, and I don't want to be the one to post their story out there.
Oh, no,
That's
no,
up to
no, of
them.
course. I meant like a space for them to, you know,
Yeah,
uh, write about whatever they want to share.
yeah, I
Yes.
think a Facebook group's a good idea because I think helping that community come together would be a great thing.
Sometimes it's a conversation between them, but many times are conversations proposed by the brand, not only by you, but bringing, I don't know, a professional in the health space to,
Hmm.
to webinar about X topic that is interesting for them, so they can join the webinar anonymously without showing they are there. And
Right.
there are many things that they can find support, because nowadays I think where brands stand out for real is when they find a way to probably not stop being like a product or a subset of products, and be,
Mhm.
you know, a place for people to, you know, find whatever they are looking for. In this case, it could be
Right.
support, it could be information, it could be knowing that they are not alone, it could be whatever. Uh, yeah, it could be different things for different brands.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And we talked about acquisition briefly. Are you
Mhm.
guys doing anything to encourage them to buy again? Because this is, there are some products that are not, that probably don't make sense to buy again. But in this case, um, I think it does, right? But
Mhm.
what do you see on this front? What are you guys doing? What have you tried? What worked? What didn't?
We're offering subscription, so you get a discount if you subscribe. One thing that we are just trying to figure out is we're such a low price product that a lot of discount incentives don't don't help us. Like we do offer discounts to our newsletter subscribers, we'll have sales just for them, and sometimes people will stock up and reorder. But for the most part, price doesn't seem to be a factor when we play around with it as far as sales go. So sampling is our best thing. If someone orders our daily labels, we'll put in a sample of another kind of label for them to try. um, if there's somebody on social media writing about something and I think that we have a solution, I'll reach out and try and send them samples. So sampling is our best thing, because usually once people try it, they like it, they find a million things they want to stick them on, and then they're a customer. So for us, that's a really cost effective thing to do. I know for a lot of products, their products $50, $100, like sampling is not a good option for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, subscriptions sound like a good plan, and something great for them. And I'm sure there are many other touch points to test on that front to make them, come back for more, because as you said in the beginning of the conversation, they need this, because taking the medicine twice could hurt
Mhm.
like some people, right? With
Yeah,
certain conditions, and not taking it the same thing. So um, it's important for them to realize that if they know they need it, that they should stick with it.
definitely.
Yeah. And then I know this is a sensitive topic, because I read a recent post of yours talking about returns. And I know this hurts, because, as I told you before hitting record, uh, I mean, who doesn't suffer? You know, every founder that receives a return, that every founder that cares about their customers, about their business, of course, it's going to hurt. But I wanted to hear from you in this case, what happened and what you learned from this experience.
Um, well, yeah, I did a post on LinkedIn because I got a return, and when you get a return on Amazon, at least through with our settings, I get an email saying a return's been initiated. And it makes my heart sink because I'm just like, somebody bought it and didn't like it. And I like take it really personally, even though I also get emails with all the sales, and I just kind of like I glance at those and don't really think about them that hard. Like, oh, that's good, but the return ones always just like make me so sad. So then I got on this mission to find out, well, how many returns do I have? Have I not been paying attention? Like, should I change something? And I found out in over 4 years, like we've had like, I think it was something like a little over 30, like 32 returns. And then in reading the reasons, I found out almost all of them were the person who ordered's error. Like the reason they thought it was a pillbox, which it clearly says it's a sticker. Like it wasn't, it wasn't really a problem. Like they didn't, it might not have been the right product for them, but they didn't order the right thing either. So um that made me feel a little better.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that's great to hear. That was the reason why they returned it. And about, even if it was not a return, and sometimes they're not even customers, but many people with a lot of, social followers, posting online a lot or doing ads, they get both positive and negative feedback and comments. Again, even if they have never bought from the
Hmm.
brand, people, on social, I'm not saying they are mean, but sometimes they are
Sometimes they're
misinformed.
mean.
Sometimes they are mean, yes, let's say it, but many times they are misinformed, or they just,
Mhm.
go around saying, bad things as if no human being read them, right? So it hurts, but I saw a nine-figure founder recently said that a nine-figure founder, they are way past the feelings of bad comments, but they said, hey, the more I get, that they did an ad on the Super Bowl for the Super Bowl, and
Mhm.
they posted both the positive and the negative reactions. And they said, the more you succeed, the more you do, the more you
Mhm.
try, the more you're going to attract and repel people. And that's a good sign. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
If you don't repel anyone, probably you're not attracting anyone either, right?
that makes sense. And I noticed, the more we sell, the more, we do get comments, and we have people share them on TikTok a lot, the labels. And I always try and look at the comments, and um I feel the need sometimes to respond to the negative ones unless they're just mean. But usually I'll just try to say, like, hey, I'm glad your pillbox works for you. For a lot of us, it doesn't work. So I'm just trying to give people another option. And usually the person will write being like, oh, well, I didn't mean to be mean. And I'm like, you're not being mean. I don't like to let it just sit out there unanswered. Um, or if they, make a statement that's incorrect about the product, I try to nicely, like, I always try to be nice because we're new, people don't know about us. I don't know why people take time to write something like snarky or, give a mean response comment. I guess I have nothing better to do, but like, I don't like to just let them sit there with no response. So at least right now, I try to respond to a lot of them if I see them. But yeah, I'll probably stop doing that eventually.
Oh, I know, no worries. So before we go, I wanted to ask you, what's next for Tooktake? Do you have any specific
um,
that you would like to tell the audience about?
well, we have lots of plans. Well, we launched the pet line recently, so we're hoping to, watch that grow. Again, working more on our D2C through our website, and like you said, trying to find where our community is and where we can meet them, and helping to build that, because I think we're a good product for that, to give people a place. And we're also really, I'm working a lot, working with other like organizations and hospitals doing white label. That's something we started doing at the end of last year to help them promote their brand while having our product that helps their patients and things. So that's something interesting we're just kind of just getting into.
That's awesome. That's great. Before you go, I wanted to ask you something I love asking every single guest when they come on the show. I love reading, and this is a selfish question because I want to find more interesting things to read. So, do you have any book by any chance that you love that you want to recommend to the audience?
Yeah, I love Supermaker by Jamie Schmidt from Schmidt's Deodorant. Um, she started, making it in her kitchen. They grew really fast. They end up selling to Unilever. Um, I'm not spoiling it. Like, the journey is amazing. And I think for me as a really small business with big hopes, like, to hear the ups and downs and the chaos that her story is, um, helps me feel like I'm on the right path. So I love that book.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear that. So, Leeanna, I really love the conversation. I wanted to thank you for coming on the show and share your story. I really appreciate that. And before we go, why don't you tell the audience where they can go to learn more about you and Tooktake?
You can go to tooktake.com and learn all about Tooktake labels. You can get us on our website, Amazon, at CVS, and at Walmart. You can hear my ramblings about being an entrepreneur on LinkedIn under Leeanna Gantt.
Awesome. Please, for those listening or watching these, remember to go to the DTCinsider.com and find the show notes for this one. Everything that Leeanna mentioned will be there. Okay. Leeanna, again, it was a pleasure to do this episode with you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.